They watch everything. They see every story. They know what everyone is doing, but you never see them .no pictures, no updates, no explanations. So here's the real question. Are they hiding? Or are they the most self-aware people online? In a world where attention is currency, where validation is measured in likes, and where existence feels incomplete without proof, some people choose silence. They don't post selfies. They don't announce milestones. They don't narrate their lives. And that silence isn't random, but it's psychological. Today, we're breaking down the real reasons why some people never post their own pictures or statuses, and what it actually says about how their mind works. This isn't about shyness. This isn't about being boring. This is about power, perception, and control. Point 1. They don't seek external validation. Most people post to be seen. To be acknowledged. To be approved. Likes become reassurance. Comments become proof of worth. But people who don't post, they've unplugged from that loop. Their self-esteem isn't crowdsourced, it's internal. They don't need strangers to confirm they matter. They don't need applause to feel real. Psychologically, this often points to internal validation orientation, a trait linked to emotional independence and self-regulation. They know who they are, even when no one is watching. Point 2. They understand the illusion of social media. They see the highlight reel, the filters, the strategic angles, the fake happiness. And instead of participating, they step back. These people understand something deeply unsettling. Posting doesn't document life. It edits it. They don't want to turn their experiences into performances. They don't want moments to exist only if they're witnessed. Psychologically, this reflects high media literacy, the ability to see through manufactured narratives. They don't reject social media because they're naive. They reject it because they're aware. Point 3. They value privacy more than attention. Some minds are wired for exposure. Others are wired for protection. People who don't post often treat their life like a locked room, not a public stage. Their relationships are offline. Their wins are quiet. Their struggles are private. Psychologically, this links to high boundary awareness. They know that not everything needs an audience, and not everyone deserves access. In a culture that overshares, privacy becomes a form of rebellion. Point 4. They observe more than they express. Silence doesn't mean absence. It means observation. These people are watching patterns, reading behavior, noticing inconsistencies. While others post impulsively, they analyze. Psychologically, this aligns with high cognitive reflection, the tendency to think before acting. They don't react for dopamine. They respond for meaning. They don't post because they're bored. They don't post because they're thinking. Point 5. They feel inauthentic posting about themselves. For some people, self-promotion feels wrong. Not morally wrong, emotionally wrong. Posting a selfie feels like exaggerating the self. Posting achievements feels like bragging. Posting happiness feels like lying. Psychologically, this connects to authenticity sensitivity, a strong internal discomfort with performative behavior. They'd rather be unknown and real than visible and distorted, and that makes them rare. Point 6. They don't want their identity reduced to content. Social media doesn't just show who you are, it defines you. Your face becomes a thumbnail. Your life becomes a feed. Your personality becomes a pattern. People who don't post resist this reduction. They don't want to be summarized in squares. They don't want algorithms to decide their worth. Psychologically, this reflects identity complexity, the understanding that the self cannot be flattened into visuals. They refuse to become consumable. Point 7. They've been conditioned by past experiences. Sometimes silence isn't philosophy, it's memory. Maybe they posted once and were judged, mocked, ignored. The brain remembers social pain. Psychologically, this is avoidant adaptation, the mind learning to reduce exposure to threat. But here's the twist. Many of these people didn't retreat out of fear. They evolved. They learned that peace feels better than visibility. Point 8. They don't compete socially. Posting often isn't about sharing, it's about positioning. Who's happier, who's richer, who's winning. People who don't post refuse to enter that race. They don't compare timelines. They don't measure progress through likes. Psychologically, this shows low social comparison orientation, a trait linked to higher long-term life satisfaction. They're not behind, they're just not racing. Point 9. They feel more power by being unreadable. Here's the part most people miss. Silence creates mystery. Mystery creates power. When you don't post, people can't predict you, that can't categorize you, that can't track your moves. Psychologically, this reflects strategic self-concealment, a conscious or unconscious decision to limit information flow. They control the narrative by not providing one.I in a world obsessed with exposure. Being unreadable is dominance. Point 10. They live in the moment, not the recording. For many people, life doesn't feel real unless it's documented. But for these individuals, documentation ruins immersion. They don't want to pause joy to capture it. They don't want grief archived. They don't want memories filtered. Psychologically, this links to high experiential presence, the ability to fully inhabit the now. They don't live for later consumption. They live now, breaking the myth. Let's clear something up. People who don't post are not antisocial. They're not insecure. They're not irrelevant. In fact, many are the opposite. They know themselves. They guard their energy. They don't confuse visibility with value. Their silence isn't emptiness, that it's intention. Social media teaches one rule. If you don't post, you don't exist. But psychology tells a different story. Some of the strongest minds didn't announce themselves. Some of the most fulfilled lives aren't documented. Some people don't post because they don't need to prove anything. They're not hiding. They're living. And in a world addicted to being seen, choosing silence might be the most self-aware decision of all. So next time you notice someone who never posts, don't assume they have nothing going on. Assume they have something worth protecting.